Welcome to Town Talk, the official podcast of Summerville, South Carolina. And I am super excited. As you can tell, we are not in the typical, office area. We are at Oak Road Brewery, and I'm very excited to interview the owners of Oak Road Brewery. It's important for us as the town of Summerville to get out into the community and to really understand, the bones of our community. So let's start at the beginning. We'll kind of go down the line, all right? So introduce yourself, and let's just start with introductions from there. Yeah.
Keep it simple.
My name is Bankey, CEO Oak Road Brewery. One of the founding members, and you want to know about my job?
Yeah, let's hear it. Let's hear it.
Project manager, do IT stuff.
Okay, awesome.
I'm Erin Cox. I'm the COO, and I run the tap room and all the extra events that we do here at Oak Road, and I'm an assistant brewer and the founder of the Women in Brewing organization that we have here with Oak Road. And I am a middle school math and science teacher.
Middle school? Oh, what grade?
With 6th grade at DeBose Middle School.
Okay.
My name is Brian Cox. I run all the production here at Oak Road Brewery.
Nice.
And I currently still work and have 3 years and 1 month left as an emergency room nurse.
All right. So you're counting down by the minute, right?
Just a little bit.
Getting ready.
Yeah, so thank you guys so much for joining and taking the time out of y'all's busy day. Being able to get all three of y'all is awesome. So I want to start at the beginning, okay? Kind of the formation of Oak Road. How did that happen?
Long day at work.
Yeah?
Yeah. We all live here in Summerville, and at the time, the beer scene was really starting to grow around the Low Country.
Yeah.
There was only a handful of breweries at the time, but there wasn't one in Summerville. So, getting tired of driving to North Charleston or working the corporate life, like, let's start a brewery.
Yeah.
So I kind of set out to figure out how I was going to do that.
Yeah.
And just met people along the way, and that's how I met these guys along the way. And just kind of grew from there.
Yeah. So it kind of started as somewhat of an idea in a sense.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. And so Summerville, what was the decision behind coming here in town?
We all live here.
Oh, that makes it easy, right?
Summerville doesn't have one.
Yeah.
So it needed one.
Yeah.
We like to do community things and just being part of this community. So
awesome. So when it comes to the partnership, how's that work? Is it very cohesive? How does that partnership work?
I do all the work.
Yeah. We didn't know each other before.
All three of you.
Right.
Okay.
And it just kind of came together, like any team development, you go through all the phases.
Yep.
And we just worked through it all. When you have the same vision for where you want to bring, it weeds everything else out. Okay,
that's really cool. So I have to ask, what is the background behind the name?
That's mine. I know. I live off 61.
Easy one if you think about it. It really is.
It is. I live off 61.
Okay.
And Highway 61 Brewery, I was a home brewer before.
Okay.
Like many. So every home brewer wants to name their brewery because they want to pretend like they are one. So Highway 61 Brewery didn't sound, so I called it Oak Road.
Okay.
Because 61, people like it because it's covered with oaks.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where it comes from.
Okay, that's actually, you're right, that is simple.
It's the area.
Yeah, and it's cool. Yeah, Highway 61 doesn't.
It
doesn't
campy.
So obviously, I'm sure a lot of folks in the community kind of know the process behind, brewing and everything like that, but I'm sure there's a lot that don't.
Right.
Can y'all go into detail behind the process that happens here in house?
Yeah.
We'll keep it simple.
Yeah.
Very
you
simple.
Do it, or you want me to?
No, it's very simple because we're not going to get too complicated. 'Cause we can geek out on it. It's literally mixing hot water and grain, letting it rest, rinsing the sugars off of it, boiling them down, adding hops and ingredients, and then cooling it down, adding it to a fermenter, and adding yeast to it.
Okay. You make it sound very easy.
It is.
It
is.
Yeah.
It is really a simple
Sugar
process.
water boiled with a little bit of bitterness from the hops, and then fermented out with yeast.
Okay. So when it comes to like the different flavors, how does that work in that whole process?
There's it can be the malt you use.
Okay.
From where you get it from.
Okay.
German malt, Canadian malt, American malt, British malt, or even Eastern or Western European malt. Depends on the yeast you use, and then of course there's hops galore right now. It depends what hops you use.
Okay.
What temperature you're fermented at.
Right.
So there's lots of. It's the way I explain it to everybody is like you're taking 1,000 things and trying to 1,000 small biological processes to make a flavor that you want or a profile that you want. That's basically what you're doing. There's a lot there.
Behind the flavor
Yes.
aspect.
Yeah, there's a lot there.
So the making is easy.
So for us, we do all lagers. So the most
Okay.
important thing is the yeast and keeping the malt profile.
Okay, for any of our listeners who aren't familiar, what's a lager?
So a lager is just a beer that's fermented at a colder temperature,
Okay, awesome.
whereas an ale is going to be fermented in the 60s to 70s.
Okay.
That's
And-
very simplified too. We're not gonna keep it too complicated.
no, I think the simpler the
Yeah.
better.
So lagers are usually fermented anywhere from 48 to 52 degrees
Okay.
Fahrenheit, and ale can be fermented anywhere from 60 to. There's some
100?
yeast strains you can do 100 degrees.
Oh wow.
So,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
And with that, you get lots of different flavor profiles, lots of different variety.
So I'm guessing it takes a lot of trial and error, right?
It does. Trial and error, I say, is definitely one. I would say with a small brewery, it's a lot harder just because the lab process and the QA process might not be there because of the money.
Yeah.
But these larger breweries, and they got it nailed down just because of all the science behind it. They're able to have a full lab and able to make the profile they want to do repeatedly all the time. Here, it is a little trial and error. There is variation from batch to batch, but I think that variation, we finally got it to where it's a very tight, narrow area. It's not as wide as it was.
Okay. And does it, I mean, there's so many different aspects, and I'm learning as you guys are talking.
We could do 2 hours on brewing.
Just
on
yeast.
And I
Exactly.
wouldn't even consider myself an expert compared to some of the other people in this country.
So if there's a flavor that, say you guys walk in one day and you're like, I want to make this flavor. Is that possible? Like, how is that, like, where's the ideas come from, I think is where I'm
So my ideas come from, I think the best way to start is, for me, is what I do is pick a flavor profile. So say you want to make something that tastes like coffee or chocolate.
Yeah.
You're going to build a flavor profile. Like if you wanted to make, let's say, tiramisu. I've always thought that'd be cool to do tiramisu. You know, tiramisu is, you got cream, like mascarpone.
Yeah.
Or some kind of cheese of that batter. You got a coffee liqueur, so you're going to have the coffee flavor. Ladies' fingers are going to be more like the malt flavor, that bready kind of character, which you can get from malt. And then you got chocolate, which you can make different ways. You can have chocolate malts you can add to it, or you can use real chocolate too in the fermentation process. And in coffee, you can do it multiple ways. You could try coffee beans ground and put them in the mash. You can cold steep them, make cold coffee, and
Dump it in.
kind of
Yep.
dump it into the fermenter, and you kind of build things that way. Almost, it's like being a chef. You come up with an idea,
Right.
and from there you build from your malts
Right.
to your hops, how you want it bittered. Do you want it lightly bittered?
Yeah.
More on the sweeter side or malt profile side? Do you want it kind of balanced, or do you want something that's a little hoppier, more bitter?
Right.
And with that even said, being with bitterness now, you can make beers that are really bitter, or you can make beers that are very flavorful depending on the hops you use and how you use the hops.
Right.
Do you just only use them in the whirlpool, or are you only using them for dry hopping, like a New England style IPA?
Okay.
So there's many ways to go, but where I usually start would be just if a chef is making a recipe for, say, a dinner, a chicken dinner, is something he wants to use
Okay.
as a base.
I feel like y'all are scientists. This is crazy.
Yes.
It's a lot of science.
Science.
There is a
A
science
lot
to
of,
it.
lot of engineering, a lot of
Yep.
science, a lot of chemistry.
Oh, that is
Biology
it's so cool.
And
And
microbiology.
and microbiology.
too.
Yep, for the yeast.
so behind us, right here,
Yeah.
there is these big containers.
Yeah.
What are those? The beer goes in there, right?
Yeah, on my right, we have 10 barrel fermenters. There's 4 of them down the line.
Okay.
So 10 barrels is about 330 gallons. Straight back are 3 5s. And then over my left-hand shoulder to your right, my left, is we have a smaller pilot system.
In the
Okay.
back, you can't quite
And
see.
back
Okay.
in the corner, and the 1 barrels are right up here. On your right, on my left, that's our brew house.
Okay.
So the container farthest from you is our hot liquor tank. Think of that as like your hot water heater.
Okay.
That makes the hot water. You can set your temperature to whatever. In the middle is basically what would be called a mash mixer, or your mash tun.
Okay.
It has a rake in there, and you literally add the water and the grains to there, mix them up, and then there's actually a false bottom that's slotted, and that's where the sugar water or wort drains through to the bottom. and how you drain off the sugar water from the actual mash itself. And then this last container here is our boil kettle. That's where you put all your sweet wort or sugar water and boil it down and add your hops.
Wow, that's a lot. So, is it just? How many people does it take to?
One person can run the
One
whole thing.
person.
One person.
We
can-
typically use two.
one person can
Typically
clean,
2 people.
Yeah.
clean and run the brew house at the same time.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. So it could be a 1-person job. It seems like it's like a 10, 12 person job, but that's impressive. I'm sure you're busy though.
Use pumps to push your
yeah.
water and mortar around.
Yeah.
Push water to get your cleaning agents around.
That's
So
so cool. So all the beers you guys offer, what is the popular choices for the community?
So currently our top seller right now is Never Forget. We did that with John and Rachel for the Stair Climb. That's been our best seller. It was a beer we did as a fundraising event.
Okay.
So since we do have it still, I would say it's probably number one, even
Yeah.
in cans. But if you look over time, our top one is Jog on Board, which is a Munich Helles. Our second one's Beaver Canoe, which is an amber lager, which would be considered similar to like a Yingling or a red ale or a red lager. And then our third is 1847, which is a American light lager that we did for the town of Summerville for the anniversary. That I would say currently can't keep it in stock, but probably closer to our almost probably number 2, number 1 in sometimes.
Definitely in Summerville is the number 1
Yes.
beer.
Yeah.
And then our number 4, which would be 4 for distribution, and it depends if we have it here, is usually our Mother Heifer, which is a Hefeweizen, but usually our Contra or any kind of IPA, if we have that on tap, is usually our top 4.
That's awesome. So I heard distribution. So you guys distribute to?
Correct.
Is it just local?
No, it's our distributor's licensed throughout the state.
Throughout the state. So you're all throughout South Carolina.
No, mostly Columbia to Charleston, that area.
Okay.
Mostly. There is some in Myrtle Beach, some in Beaufort.
Nice. And is that business the distribution business?
It is. It's slow and steady.
Yeah.
We do more here in town. We do way more here in-house is what we want. We do that out there just to kind of get our name out there.
So speaking of in-house, we'll kind of switch gears here a little bit. I want to talk about the experience. You know, when you come here and you just want to enjoy some time with your friends or your family, what is the goal behind the experience when someone in the community comes here?
Well, that's it. What you just said. That being able to enjoy time with your friends, your family, not feel like you're in the bar scene where you're worried about, why is this person looking at me? Is this person going to come talk to me and I don't want to talk to them? Or, these people over here are getting loud and obnoxious, and that's not the atmosphere we're looking for. So, when we developed Oak Road, one of our big, our overarching goal was that our community needed a public house where people could come, have a nice beer or two, craft good quality, hang out with their family, hang out with their friends, and not be pretentious or judged or anything like that. Just feel like they could hang out and have a good time. And we have the video games, the kids can walk around and play. You don't have to feel like, oh my gosh, where are the kids, you got to sit here. So open, honest. Our bar staff is super friendly and wants to talk to everybody. We're usually here all the time too, just making sure we're talking with the community, because we want to be involved with everyone. Our goal was to provide a place for our community, to serve our community. And so that's when you come in here, we want you to feel like you're sitting in your friend's garage having a beer.
That's awesome. It has that's kind of the Summerville way, isn't it? Right. It's that small town, family oriented community.
Right.
Every podcast interview I've done so far, it's the same conversation. It's that Summerville way.
That's right.
And that's it. For that to be y'all's base behind all this just makes it extra special.
Right.
Yeah, and I feel like you'll always see someone when you come here. Is that true?
Yes.
Yep.
I feel like
Always.
that's got to be the thing here.
Yes.
Is it? And then they spark off conversation.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And that, on y'all's website, you explain yourselves as the community hub. And we kind of touched base on that.
Right.
And that was the vision at the beginning, was to be that. What are the next steps?
Oh, wow.
From now to enhancing that community hub vision.
So one of the big things that all three of us are very service oriented. So giving back to our community.
I love that.
Summerville has done so much for us. Brian and I moved here in 1998, and we've raised our son here, and he went up through the public school system. They've employed us, at least me.
Him too for a while.
Him too for a while. He was, a first responder. So to give back through different organizations. So Brian had mentioned we recently worked with John and Rachel Cole for the Charleston Stair Climb.
Yep.
And so designing a beer that was specifically just for that event, just to be able, and then proceeds from all of it
That's
and
amazing.
went back to them. We'll work with the Travis Manion Foundation, which is another veteran organization local, and support them in the same way. And we've worked with lots of different organizations, but we try to stay community specific. Like our goal is that this all goes back to Summerville because Summerville has given so much to us. So our goal is to keep expanding on that. We recently worked with the Low Country Autism group and did Shut the Street Down, had a big party, and again, to help raise funds for them and awareness, autism awareness. So anything we can continue to do to give back to our community to help it flourish and grow and be a part of that is what we want. So if it means we got to get bigger, we got to move, then those are things we do. As long as that stays our focus, our drive is how do we continue to provide Summerville with that place that we want, that's a hub, but also where we can continue to help the community grow and be involved with one another.
That's just such an amazing, vision and answer because, people sometimes forget that when it comes into business, right? You forget that, the roots and where you come from. And I think of, this is kind of not related, but when you think of an athlete after they get that first big contract,
Right.
They kind of forget their roots and they become a different type of person because they have all that money now. And it's kind of the same thing with a business. Once you gain popularity, you gain stable, business. Some businesses, forget that. But the fact that y'all keep that at the forefront is just absolutely amazing. And I love that. I know the listeners are going to be all over that.
And just to kind of tap into that, and the other thing is too is, and especially on my side, is how cool is it that your town has a brewery that makes a beer after you, that's named after you, that has a local product that you can consume, and you can go and get it at the brewery. And one of our goals with our distributor right now is how cool is that we're in Lowe's, pretty much all the Lowe's in the area, but how cool is eventually we work in Harris Teeter and Publix is you can go and get your stuff or our stuff anywhere in the local area and be Summerville's beer and be Summerville's place to come and build around that, build friendship, community around that. And the collaborations we've done, all the collaborations we've done have been with local groups. We've worked, like the Stair Climb we've done 2 years. We did the Battery, we worked with.
That's so cool.
Autism Foundation. Who else have we done I can't think of all the collaborations.
I'm sure there's many more to come.
Dorchester Women in Brewing has a
raise
bunch.
money for Dorchester Paws and HF Help, and that's not even hitting all the stuff that the Women in Brewing have done. And then we've helped helped Erin with and all the stuff that they've been super creative with and raised money for.
That's so cool, and I have to go back. All that just is done right here. That's
all
crazy.
Here.
That's crazy.
All of it's here.
That's awesome.
It's just
Now we do have a canning line we have to bring in.
Okay.
The canning line is in here. We do have to bring that, but it's done here.
Yes, but it's done here too. So everything's done here.
That's amazing.
So.
I do want to switch gears a little bit again, and I'd be remiss not to talk about this, but COVID year, everything that happened. What did y'all do during that time? What was it like during the COVID? I say the COVID year, but I mean it was all the way till even somewhat today, I guess.
Well, the funny thing is, the same answer we've given you before, it's the same one now.
Right.
And it was the community that came and supported us when that happened. They got us through. They would come buy beer every day. Kim, who you can't see behind here, was one of them people who would come and buy multiple packs of beer.
Right.
So Erin and I would come up here, and Brian when he was working, and we would every day we'd can stuff up.
Yeah.
And then town would come in to buy it.
Right.
And we did that for 8 months, whatever it was.
I mean, it was a huge actually learning opportunity for us. I mean, I know a lot of people it was a very negative kind of time, but for us it was a positive time. That's where I learned how to brew on the big system because I had time.
Okay.
So we're like, all right, let's start with women. Like there's a shortage of women in the brewing industry. Let's learn how to do it.
Yep.
So I learned how to brew on a big system, and then we had a manual canning. It did 2 cans at a time. It was manual. I mean, when Ben says we were up here, it was a 10-hour day of canning. But again, it was a learning opportunity for, okay, how do we do this to keep providing our community with what they want? And we are truly grateful. Our community came back and said, let's go, come on, open the doors. We'll buy it. Like we may not be able to sit down and drink it, but we'll buy what you got so that we can, help keep everything open.
So the community had y'all's back.
Oh, yes.
That when everything closed down, they're like, listen, you guys are working hard. We're going to support you. And that's Summerville.
Yeah.
Right.
If you're a hardworking, business, the community's got your back, and that's kind of just the Summerville way. We go back to that again.
And we did things online more. So it exposed us more with technology.
Okay.
Kim and I used to do bingo online every Sunday because we do bingo on Sunday as a community. It's free. Come in with your family, play bingo 3 to 5. And we're like, how do we keep doing that? Well, luckily we had another business that we worked with, the popcorn business. Nate was like, hey, I can help you. You guys can do this. This isn't hard. We can set you up in Zoom. And we had Sundays where we had people from 10 different states logging, zooming in to come play bingo. We'd mail them the cards and they'd play bingo, and then we'd mail them their prizes, and we'd put it on Facebook and people could see it. And so,
It's still there, actually.
It was, I was going to say, they'll pop up as
Yeah.
memories. You can see them.
That's so cool.
It was, okay, let's learn how to do something different as opposed to the way we always do it. And then when we started playing back in here, people are like, are you still going to do it online? Can we still play online? And we're like, oh, man.
Chip.
Exactly, Chip. Yep.
That's innovative, though. That's thinking forward and thinking, how can we still interact with the community even though we can't right now? And that's just it speaks volumes of the leadership behind here. You brought up at the beginning the Women in Brewery. Is that what's
Women
called?
in Brewing.
All right. Can we talk a little bit more about that?
Sure.
Kind of give the background, what it's about, and then if anyone's interested in learning more, where they can go.
Okay, so we established Women in Brewing for a couple of reasons. One, we noticed a trend that a lot of women would come into the brewery very kind of not sure what they wanted, kind of uncomfortable, and that takes away from what we're trying to provide. We want you comfortable and happy, not stressed out about having to figure out a beer order. There's also not a large majority of women who work in the brewing industry, other than maybe behind the bar, but in
sales.
the actual, or sales. But as far as the actual brewing part. So our goal was to be able to provide women an opportunity to learn those things if they wanted to. We started mainly with the brewing process. I learned it. Brian taught me. I would come in and brew with him. School was out. It was COVID. So I learned how to brew. I took those 9 months and learned how to brew and,
awesome.
read the books he told me to and all the things. And then we also brought in our team from our staff and that kind of stuff who's interested, and they all jumped on board and wanted to start doing that. So it was then, okay, so how can we give back since we're, learning? And so we had different organizations we'd work with. We'd design a beer, and then we'd have a night where we released it, and we'd, give proceeds again back to those organizations to help support them. And then we also started what we call Ninkasi Night, which would be the first Wednesday of the month, and it was just a women's night to come in, and we'd have a different, we're going to talk about IPAs today.
How fun.
So to help women feel more comfortable with beer, learn the flavor profiles, what they liked, what they didn't like, but in a way where they didn't feel like someone was over-explaining things.
Yeah.
Okay, I get it. I don't like it. Glad you've explained all that. So that they could feel more comfortable and confident in what they were doing when they came to order beer. So
that's so cool.
Yeah.
If anyone of our listeners is interested in getting involved in that, where do they go to learn more?
So we have a Facebook page, Women in Brewing, and we have an Instagram page. So they can message me in either one.
I'll be sure to link that in the episode's description.
Yes, and they're both just Women in Brewing.
Okay.
So yeah.
That's so cool. And I encourage y'all to get involved. That's a really cool program. I'm glad you're doing that.
Yes.
That's awesome. Do you want to mention the other part?
Which part?
Well, we had a podcast.
They had a podcast. So they documented.
Oh, yeah, the podcast
too.
We
did. Yes.
Okay.
So
you can
go back,
listen to them learn.
Oh, that's
The
cool.
whole process, they documented all of it as they went along. And
That's
you can
amazing.
See them grow.
Yeah.
That's so
from
cool.
the first time we brewed to
Oh, that's cool. So, and that's all on the social media sites as well?
Yep. Yes.
Awesome.
The link to the podcast is on our Instagram bio. So
Great. I'll make sure that's in the bio here as well, so
Awesome.
anyone interested can listen. When it comes to Summerville, you all are from here. Y'all, built this business here. Why, for the Summerville, why is having a business in Summerville? Well, you have so many different options. Like you obviously you guys live here. You want to give back to your community, but why strategically did you choose Summerville over like Charleston, North Charleston, Mount Pleasant? I know, is it strictly just because you want to get back to the community?
Well, that and
that community's here.
Our community's here,
Yeah.
and Summerville didn't have a brewery.
Okay.
We're Summerville's first and only brewery.
Okay.
So Summerville didn't have one, so it seemed like a smart decision to not only because this is our home and this is who we want to get back to, but this is the spot.
There was nothing.
There was a need.
before we got
Yeah.
started.
Yeah.
So it was a strategic
was
move
no-
to be
yeah.
the
We
first.
were the first.
Exactly, and we talk about that in other episodes. Is how Summerville now offers so much that you don't have to travel downtown
Right.
anymore.
Right.
You could do whatever you can do downtown here in
here.
Somerville.
Summerville.
Yep.
You do not need to travel. We have
No, you don't.
fantastic food. We have a brewery. We have awesome coffee shops. We have everything you need here, and I think that's what makes it even extra special
Yeah. Right.
now. And that's only because of our community and the people within our community who are hard workers and who are innovative and thinking outside the box and what can we bring here that enhances every single
Right.
aspect
Yes.
of the community.
Right.
For anyone who's listening who's interested in opening a business here in Summerville, what are some tips that you would give anyone? I guess y'all are in the brewery and I would
Right.
say food and bev industry, but outside in food and bev or
Right.
outside of food and bev, any tips or tricks?
Do it and figure it out.
Right.
Love that, actually. I love
And
that.
Your biggest thing is before you even get started, why are you doing it? If your answer is to make money, you're in it for the wrong reason.
That's
That-
powerful.
I mean, you're in it for the wrong reason. So really know your why.
Mm-hmm.
Why am I doing this? What is my mission, vision to bring to Summerville? If you know that, the rest will fall into place. It won't be easy. It'll be a lot of hard work. But if you keep that as your focus, the rest will fall into place.
I love that. So it's just really that's some powerful answers. I'm gonna be honest with you. And
I don't think it's powerful. I think that's what it is. If you look at all the successful companies, no one did it chasing money. If you chase money, you're going to be in trouble.
yeah,
You can use examples.
You have a larger
Yeah.
purpose.
Look at Steve Jobs and how he had to come back. I mean, some of the people that I like, Sam
we
at
follow.
Dogfish Head is one of my favorites, and he did not start
It wasn't about money.
money.
Nope.
It was never about money in Rehoboth.
yeah.
And he started a brew pub in the middle of nowhere that's a
Right.
summer town,
Right.
and now runs one of the largest breweries in the country out of
Right.
the most depressed area that it was for a while. So, and even Russian River. There's all these other businesses, but if you follow business, is not like it's not about the money. Find out
Yeah.
what you want to do,
Yeah.
execute it.
Now I want to come back to inside the building here a little bit. Obviously you guys have to be hosting some type of events here and special themed
time.
nights.
Yeah.
Let's go into that. What do y'all have to offer?
So we have done events where we closed the road down. So
Okay.
we just did in May. We did an event with the Low Country Autism Foundation, raising awareness for autism, and we closed the road down. And we
Amazing.
have food trucks and music and
Joggling
cornhole
boards
and joggling board. The Joggle Factory worked with us, and so
That's so cool.
we things like that. Simple. It doesn't have to be extravagant.
Yeah.
Sometimes we just do themes like, okay, we're gonna do 80s night, and dress in your best 80s outfit, and so people will come in their 80s outfits, and we do trivia. And like I said, we do bingo, and then we do what?
Live
bingo.
music.
We have live music. We have food trucks. So things that just attract,
Game
what
nights, art nights.
That's so fun.
Yeah.
So
We
you
try
just
to
get
make-
fun
Keep
and
it simple.
creative.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, when it comes to the employees and staff, how has it been? Because it's in every industry, every company, it's always been a struggle to stay staffed. And how was that been as a business owner here in Summerville? Have y'all been just able to keep staff? Has it been how is the
Right.
staff like?
So our staff is Our staff is behind the bar for the most part. It's
Okay.
our bartenders. And so really 2 of them actually were three.
Yeah.
Andy, Wes, and
And-
Brian were actual patrons who just liked the place. And they're like, if you ever need help, if you're
I
looking
love
for
that.
somebody.
I
So
love
sure.
that.
And they've been with us. Andy and Brian have worked behind the bar we've been open 8 years. They've been with us for about 6 behind the bar. Wes was one of our regulars, and he kept asking, and I was like, oh, we'll see. And that he's probably one of our strongest employees. I love him. And then I cheat. I steal from the teacher pool. Teachers are always looking for great part-time jobs.
Yeah.
And so, I have friends who I know are reliable and want to get in, and they want to help. And that's really the best part about the staff too, is we lead, but if they come and they're like, hey, I think this would be a great idea, we're like, all right, let's go execute it. Let's do it. And they're like, really? I'm like, yeah, let's do it. And they do it. And so knowing that they have that ability, they want to stay. They like being here. It's, a friendly place. They're part of helping us become better and serve the community. So they'll come to us. Claire, who is one of our bartenders who used to be a special education teacher, we work with Beyond Basic. And she's like, oh, I'll come in, I'll set it all up. And so she comes in and she works with them, and they clean and help do different things around, when we're not open, and, so that they're contributing and giving back too. So, but that was her idea, and she spearheaded it, and we're like, go for it. Okay.
How cool.
So things like that, I think.
They're like an extension of us
Yes.
too. Even like Lindsay.
Yes.
Or they'll, so it's like, there's not our kind of people. Right. So they believe in what we're doing.
Yeah.
Lindsay's another one.
That's powerful.
Yeah, Lindsay's another one. She loves dogs, so she started we have an Instagram page called Dogs of Oak Road.
That she started
so
on
Lindsay
her
will
own.
take anytime there's dogs up here, we take their pictures, send them to Lindsay. She puts a little story up there, and boom. So but it's things like that.
Randy makes things for us on his own.
So
they just do these things on their own.
Yeah.
They love it.
Because they love
They
it.
care.
Yeah.
Right.
They care.
And buy into our vision and mission, and they stay. For the most part, when they leave, at least in the last 2 to 3 years, it's because they're moving to Guatemala. Jacob, our last bartender who left, moved. So it's a
Ethan
legit
moved to
region.
Virginia.
West Virginia.
West Virginia, sorry.
And just have babies. And Ethan just won a homebrew competition. He did. So, and they stay in touch with us. Like they still follow us. Even the Kirby's.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Robert, who also moved to Tennessee, they follow us and they track us on Facebook, and they, they're still with us. They haven't left. And anytime they come into town, they come here. So
it's almost like y'all are building a branch, right? Like it starts here, and now they're moving away. They're different states, and they kind of got their bones from Oak Road. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, is there any plans of kind of expanding, going to a different area, or is this just
Somerville?
Somerville.
We'll stay in Summerville. Yep.
Yep. Okay. And for the building itself, has it always been this big, or was there ever any expansions?
This is the same space we've worked in since we've been here.
Yeah.
It's the equipment that we've expanded from the beginning.
Okay, that's awesome. It's a fantastic space. It's a perfect location too. And I guess to kind of bring this train home, I do this with every episode. I'm sure you guys know where I'm going with this. But I ask every guest their top 3 places to eat here in Summerville. Okay, and so I'm gonna go through down the line, and you got to give your top 3. If you're struggling, I don't care. I want your top 3. Ladies first.
Oh, okay. Accent on Wine.
Okay.
So we love Stefan. I love Stefan and Accent on Wine. Where else? 5 Loaves.
Five Loaves.
Five
Classic.
Loaves. Yep. And the new one right down here, El Rustica.
Okay.
Excellent. Yeah.
Okay.
All 3. Yep.
Who's next?
I can go. All
right.
But Aaron and I go down and see Stefan all the time. Actually, I won.
Yeah, okay.
She's down there on.
We were just there third Thursday.
And I would say LaRusca and Laura's. I like both of them.
Okay.
And then I'm gonna have to be really different. What's the fish and chips place?
The Codfather?
Yeah,
The Codfather.
The Codfather
Nice.
is next.
Okay.
Dude, you can't beat them.
That's true.
Like if you
That's
want
true.
like
You want
real
authentic.
English fish and chips, and he's from England, you got to go there.
That's awesome.
It's really good.
I haven't been there, but
Oh, it's really good.
Is it really
and
good?
they have our beer there.
They do?
Yeah.
It's really good.
I'm about to go try that tonight. Honestly,
yeah.
that sounds good.
A pint of Guinness and
Yeah.
or Bass. I think they had Bass.
I had a Black and Tan, too.
And Black and Tan, and get traditional English fish and chips with malt vinegar.
You have your order.
He's
You
always got
Yeah,
it.
good to
It's
go.
easy.
Hey, good to go.
All
Be
right.
surprised. It's good.
Let's see. I do like Pugins.
Oh yes,
Yep.
yes.
I guess a guilty pleasure. I don't know if it's a guilty pleasure, but me and my wife love going to get tacos and margaritas. So any Mexican restaurant, we'll go to there. And get some. Nah, we don't discriminate. So any one of them is our jam. And I do like burgers. So we go to Bad Daddy sometimes, or the Knot. Got a good
Okay.
smash burger.
Yeah. You can't go wrong with a good
Right.
burger.
And they got
Yeah.
tots, so
Yeah.
if he's got tots, I'm
True,
down.
yeah.
You gotta get the loaded tots with the cheese.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
Oh,
You
yeah.
can't
And the
just.
bacon and the scallions.
You know it. You know it.
Go big or go home.
Or even Matt's if you do burgers.
Oh, yeah.
Mash
Matt's.
burgers, I know.
We could keep going.
Yeah,
We could
I was
keep
gonna say,
going.
there's so,
So
many
many.
good ones,
We
which is
could-
great.
exactly.
I love that. That's a problem. Because when we moved down here in '98, it wasn't.
It was not like
yeah,
it is
it
now.
was not. Yeah.
Yeah, that actually brings up a good topic. I was going to end on the food, but you brought up a
Sorry.
good. No, you're good. Obviously, the growth of Summerville has, with the low country growing, obviously expands out to these outside areas. Obviously you felt that in a good way, right? How did you, fight that? Did you just have to look at, all right, we need to add more staff. Hey, we need to up our production. How did that work?
Like to reach like the surrounding neighborhoods?
That I would say the expansion, but the more people here as well.
Right. We have increased production to meet demand.
Yeah.
And I'll give you a story. There was a couple, they would come out here with their golf cart. And they had a little stereo on it, and they would buy beer. They'd
Yep.
listen. They sit outside in their picnic tables, and they'd play their music from their golf cart. And I assumed incorrectly that they just lived
Local. Yeah.
around here.
Yeah.
And I just made a comment, and they're like, "Oh no, we don't live around here. We live in Cane Bay." Like what? Like, oh yeah, we drive here from Cane Bay
On
on
our
our golf cart. So they still come here,
Yep.
even with all these new neighborhoods popping up.
How do you get here from Cane Bay?
That's what I said. He said there's a path, so I said, all right.
There's a path?
There's a
Well,
way. I don't know.
There's
Probably
at least
Maple,
through Nexton.
Maple Street
Yes.
extension.
Most of Nexton you can get to, then to Maple Street. How they make the jump over here, not exactly sure, but they do it on a reg. So
Okay. That's interesting. You wouldn't think, but hey, people can do what they
Exactly.
what they inspire to do. But that said, is there anything else for the community that you would like to share before we end our conversation here today?
No, we're forever grateful for everything they've done to help support Oak Road and help us continue to grow. So that's our kind of, we're just grateful.
Yeah.
For
if you
everything.
need us, we're here.
Yeah, I love that. And for anyone listening, thank you so much for joining the discussion today. We're excited to continue to get into the neighborhood, into the town, into our
Definitely.
businesses, and to have conversations like this where it's a little lighthearted and
That's who we are.
but
Yep.
we're associated. We're the town of Summerville,
Right.
but we want to get in our faces in front of the
of people.
community,
Yes.
and so I appreciate y'all's times today. And for anyone who's listening, all the links for everything we discussed will be attached below. And it's get out here, come enjoy some Oak Road Brewery.
That's right.
Thank you guys so much.
You got it.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Awesome.